If we took up Ukraine with NATO, it would mean a world war. If we took up Ukraine in the European Union, it would mean war. If Ukraine were to become a member of the European Union today, then today every European country, including Hungary, would be at war with the Russians. So Ukraine's membership would mean a war problem for us, and it would also mean an economic problem for us. The Ukrainians have said that they need $800 billion for the country's operation in the next 10 years, and they need another $700 billion for their military spending. And the EU has said that this is in order, and they will give it to them. I was sitting there with the Council, and they decided on this. 3 of us voted against it and only 1 spoke. We voted against it, the Slovaks and the Czechs, and we realized that when the next 90 billion euros are sent to Ukraine, they cannot contain us. This is what happened. So we managed to stay out of it. And the thing is, these are amounts of 800 billion euros and 700 billion euros. You have to imagine that this is the Hungarian pension system's 60-year announcement. The entire Hungarian family support could be paid for 40 years. These are huge amounts. And it is time that I say no to the further financing of the Russian-Ukrainian war. I say no to the fact that the operation of the Ukrainian state should be paid for by us in the next 10 years. And I say no to the rise of the regime due to the war. Everyone gets this in the days to come. Please spend it and send it back. I need it. Now, when I have to fight against the Ukrainian EU membership, and I will win this battle soon, I will say a few words about this. I think, at least, then I can fight. You can imagine how much they hate me. I can say that there was a vote in Hungary. People voted. People decided that they did not want this. So I can bite my head off and I can squeeze it into the Brussels consulate. But this will not change anything. And I say that in the next 100 years, there will not be a parliament that will vote for us to stop the Ukrainians. We will help them, but stopping them and taking our money from them is impossible. And I am not saying that the EU should kick the Ukrainians out of itself, and that we should slam the door on them like we have never seen them before. I am not saying that. I am saying that as we did with the Turks, let the EU sign a contract with them. What and how? But do not let them become a member, because if they become a member, you will not be able to do more. I am not saying any folk-like things here, but let them leave your house and get the hell out of there. But you cannot let such a country in, because that would be a problem. Therefore, a contract cooperation which can be changed can be made public, but you cannot give them a membership status, you cannot give them their rights. How can they talk now? Now they are outside. Imagine what they are hearing now from Mr. Zelensky. That is the voice of the petitioners. What will happen if we let them in? What will they say there? If this is how they talk to those who want to come in? Therefore, to win the sympathy of the Hungarians and to win their friendship is the strange way, as they are now sharing a plate with me in Davos, and then the Hungarians will also give them the money. This is not how it will go. I just want to tell you that we cannot let them in and take our money with them. But if we are already here, I will tell you, and Philip will give more time, I will tell you, how were our 4-way negotiations with Mr. Zelensky and Mr. Putin, if there are a few more testimonies. I visited Mr. Zelensky when I went to Moscow, and I told Mr. Zelensky that I think he is in trouble. The military reports, the economic background, the weapons that can be purchased, the vitality, and in general the situation in the battlefield show that time is not on his side. Time works against him. And I came here because if he lets me in, I will help him. If he sees that time is not on his side, and he is interested in peace, in a fast peace, or at least in ceasefire, then I will try to expose this Russian leg of his in Moscow. But I need him to want this. I am not saying that he laughed. We were in the hall together, so we have to be careful at times like this, but he was very reluctant. He said that he understood the situation. He thinks that time is on their side. The longer the war lasts, the more likely they will win. They will defeat the Russians on the front line, and after they have defeated them, they will make the Russians pay. I wish him good luck. I don't want to spoil his evening, but still the facts don't matter. And is there a secret plan for a nuclear power to be defeated on the front line? How is that going to happen? And I told him, while Biden was the president, that I know the Americans. They have a lot of good qualities, and there are some difficult sides. And now Biden is the president who supports himself, but there will be an election soon. The election was in July and the election was in November. And I told him that in the future a man named Donald Trump will be the president of the United States, whom I know. I have talked to him several times about this. Believe me, he will not give a penny to himself. In fact, he will pay everything back. And he will never let America get involved in a war. Don't build on this. He told me that we do not know who will win. And if this certain Donald Trump wins, we do not know what he will do. We are here. This is the modest Ukrainian attitude. While they are in trouble, they sit in trouble, and in the meantime, they are like this. Mr. President Putin, what was my speech? I will not tell you, but the last one. I asked him how much the exclusion of Donetsk is attached to this. Do you understand what I'm talking about? The Russians set the goal to occupy Luhansk and the Donetsk region. They also occupied two others, including Zarohely. Now they really occupied 80% of the Donetsk region, not 26%. And I told him, look, the following situation is very simple from a Russian point of view. The Ukrainian army will soon run out of people. And they are fighting well, but we are stronger. Here is the 20% open area. We have decided, if it breaks, we will take it back. Many Ukrainians will die and many Russian soldiers will die if we have to do this in battle. But we will do it. They can choose to either help us to explain to the Ukrainians that it is better if they give up, and we make an agreement that after that I will not go with my army anymore, or there is no such agreement. I will take it from my own strength. Then I will decide what will happen. I am not saying that this is a nice thing, nor is it a friendly conversation, but this is the reality. If there is a war, the strength counts. This is how the Russian viewpoint paints it. The first thing is that the Europeans have decided that they will support the war and they will give everything to the Ukrainians for the war. This will have the consequence that they will send soldiers. There is already a written agreement between the French and the English that they will send soldiers to the Ukrainian territory. And if they start sending soldiers to the Ukrainian territory, then the soldiers will leave, especially if there is a government that cannot say no in Brussels. Horthy also fought with this. From 1939 to 1941 he managed to stay. Then there was such a pressure and he could not solve the problem of how to stay. And in the end, only Hungarian soldiers died at the Don. Not in Budapest, that came later, at the Don. I want to tell everyone who believes that it is not the case that they push an independent country into the war to think about this opinion, but it is true. They push in if you do not stand against it. If the people do not stand against it, and the leaders of the country do not stand by the peace anywhere in Berlin and in Brussels, and do not say that we will survive this war. So people in Europe do not want what their leaders want. And we need a little time. We need at least a Fidesz. We need a little time to be able to put the European people. We start with the Hungarians, but then the Czechs, the Slovaks, and the others will come, the Austrians, the Germans, and so on. They do not want a war, and they do not want their money to be sent to Ukraine. Then why do they resist? There is a trick that takes over the European people, and that is why I am fighting, just like in Hungary. I know what the enemy intends, but I am fighting to show people their real intentions. The European leaders tell their own voters that they will not get a penny out of the war, because first of all they will lose faith, Then we will defeat the Russians. The Russians will pay a good price, and there will be a little military bag, right? And then from this, we will get back the money we gave to the Ukrainians. And imagine, a lot of people in Hungary believe this, a lot of people in Europe believe this. It is true that there is a decreasing rate, but still a lot of people believe that this is how it will be. And when we are fighting in Brussels, today not alone, but with 2 or 3 other prime ministers, and we are talking about this being an illusion, this will never happen. The Russians will never be able to defeat the Russians in the front line, and the Russians will not pay, but rather follow them. I am very sure of this, as if I were standing here. So this is an illusion, but it requires a lot of work, just like at home. Migration has changed the image of European cities. It has changed the life there. Look at the American news. There are huge debates today in America because the president wants to kick out those who belong to America without a license. There are clashes, people are being shot down, there are half-civil war situations in each city. But what I want to say is that if you let them in, war is like this. The problem for the Westerners is that they have invested a lot of money. Now we should say that we should stop. It was a bad decision, that money is gone. Let's not throw fresh money after bad money. But they cannot stop. They go after our money, they want to get it back somehow. So we have our own goals. We have national interests. We stand by them, and that's it. And we work together with those with whom we can get the most benefit of our national interests. We will buy gas and oil from the Russians. We will have to fight the Ukrainians when the war is over. So we have a place for everything. And we don't have to give up our national status and instead move to an international Brussels or I don't know what. We have to stand by our national interests.